One, we're live.
Hey, folks. Welcome to Brothers and Booze again. I'm here with Dan Beaubien of Beerploma and our esteemed leader, Greg Washington, a.k.a. Daddy Porter. So this is going to be fun because Dan's been like traveling all summer and trying beers and stuff. So it's going to be good to hear about all that a little bit later. But to start off, Dan, why don't you start us off? What are you starting with tonight?
Well, because it's fall, it's October, it's, I don't know, I'm probably where you guys are. The temperature took a little bit of a dip in the last week or two. I've got the Schottky Pumpkin Ale from Tin Whiskers Brewing Company in St. Paul, Minnesota, the capital city. So this is, a couple years ago, pumpkin beers were a dime a dozen. And now it seems like since they kind of peaked, finding a good pumpkin beer is pretty difficult. So this is a good one. I feel like it kind of it goes right in the middle between spice and vegetal. So I thought this would be a good one to start off with.
Yeah, let's hear it.
All right. So this one has been around. They started doing this a couple years ago, and definitely one of my favorite local ones. Now, another local one of note is the Town Hall Brewery Petunia Pumpkin, but this one is nice, kind of like orangey, amberish color, a little nice head on there. Little pumpkin in the nose, but like I mentioned earlier, there's not a lot of spice in there. It's very, almost very drinkable. It's a 6.6% alcohol, if I remember right. And so it's not a heavier beer. It's kind of if you could say a session pumpkin, it's probably there. So, and this is just, I know that I am in the minority of people that really love this style, but to me, a good pumpkin beer in October, it doesn't get any better than that. So,
a good pumpkin beer in November.
And November, yeah.
I love a good pumpkin beer, man. They're so polarized.
Oh, yeah.
They're polarized. I mean, you either love them or you hate them.
Yep.
I tend to go toward the ones that are not like heavy on the spice. I don't know how you guys feel about that. Some people really like that to make it more like a pumpkin pie as opposed to just a pumpkin beer.
Well, the first pumpkin beer that I ever had that really got me hooked was from your neck of the woods, Mr. Ziegler. It was the Southern Tier Pumpkin, and that is literally liquid pumpkin pie. But for some odd reason, that one, because it has like the vanilla and the crust, the spice doesn't get too over the top for me. So, but I like this one. This is similar to the New Holland Ichabod, just kind of middle of the road, very balanced, not too spicy, not too dry. Sometimes if it's super pumpkin-y, it's really dry and kind of you can only really do one. But I could knock back 4 or 5 of these. So.
But at that ABV level, that would be feasible,
Yep. Yeah, this is not going to make you do anything crazy if you have a few of them, which I appreciate. Some of like the pumpkin, I mean, that's a hefty beer. So, usually one tulip of those and I'm ready for bed. But this is pretty good.
Yeah. Have you ever had their variant that's called Warlock?
Yes.
I actually prefer to their pumpkin.
Ooh.
Yep.
Because also because I'm a heavier, high gravity beer drinker mostly. So
yeah.
Greg, did you open something there?
Yeah.
Were you sneaky? Is that a seltzer?
I can't. Man, we're 4 minutes into the show and I gotta jump in. I'm sorry. Itchy finger this weekend. I am having Flying Machine. What's this one called? Wolf Lord. Wolf Lord. They don't have much on their website here. I just got this. I was at Home Dad Con. I was up by Mr. Beaubien last week. Beaubien, sorry.
Beaubien. It's a tricky name to say. Very few people get it right, so that's all good. I tell my students, just call me Mr. B.
There we go. No, so I was up by. How about this? I was up by Dan last week. Went and saw a soccer game. Had a good time. Was up at Home.com. There was a big beer share, and everybody didn't drink the beer. So I ended up this one from here. As we stop this. This one from North Carolina, Flying Machine Wolflord. When I opened it, I smell a distinct lemon and a distinct pine. So I'm suspecting this is going to be a piney one. I am pouring this in my Denver Rare Beer
Nice.
festival glass. You ever been, Dan?
I didn't go to Denver Rare Beer. I did the What the Funk when I was there in 2017.
Okay.
So-
This is highly recommended. This whoa.
Look at that.
Liquidy marmalade.
This Denver Beer Fest, highly recommended. Denver Rare Beer Fest. I interviewed the proprietor of that. He does Pints for Prostates, which is a nonprofit that promotes beer and prostate cancer and stuff like that. So yeah, I love this brew fest. It was today in Denver, and I'm missing it, and I'm pissed, and I'm not happy about it. But at least I do have the glass here, and we're going to try this New England style double IPA. Pretty obvious, right? Yeah, it looks the part. It's a New England style IPA, but it's not a big one with the that it's not too bitter. It's really, really smooth in the end. Almost like a nitro smooth. Really nice, actually. Look at the head retention. It's still going. Still nice head. It's juicy, but it's not too juicy. I'm tasting a little orange. You said marmalade would be perfect. This would be. This is not a. It's not a big. It's not. I mean, it's. Let's see what the stats say over here. But it's not a big one, or it doesn't come off as a big one here for me.
7.8.
It's an 7.8. It's an. Is there is there an approachable New England style double IPA? Like, does that even exist, or
No.
like is it just like, because again, if you and your friend were out to a brewery and he's like, I never tasted craft beer, would you just push them over New England double IPA? Now, come on now. To me, this is one of the least approachable styles. Dan, do you have anything to say about that?
I think if it's a good one, if it's a good New England double IPA, it can be really, really good. I know that there's a handful of ones in the Twin Cities that I really like, and but there's a lot of really bad ones. I kind of got New England IPA'd out when I was on my trip this summer, because that was the big trend, and I went to some of the more noteworthy kind of hazy kind of havens for that were in Colorado, like Cerebral. I went to Weldworks, I went to Wiley Roots, and they all had 2 or 3 hazy IPAs on tap. And it's just like, when you taste so many in a row, it's so easy to pick out the ones that are subpar. And I feel like I ran into quite a few of those. So I don't know. I mean, the trend is, it doesn't feel like it's going away anytime soon. But I definitely liked them more a couple of years ago.
And Doug, Craig, open yours while I rebut over here to Dan. But and also what I mean by approachable, I mean like approachable to like non-craft beer people, or like not people like us. Like, we can run up on like the stuff. Yes, you're right. I agree with you. A lot of them came out, and then people were just pushing them out, and there were a lot of bad ones out there. But I mean, just from a style, like, let's just say we have one that's really, really well made done. It's still a style for me that I would be afraid to like tell my friend to have first, just because it's so big. Like, you know what I mean? It's big on the hops. It's big on the juice. Like, it could just be, in my opinion, some of them, I like them and they can be offensive. So like, to the palate, that is, you know what I mean? Like, just like, whoa, that's way too big. But I don't know. That goes both ways. Long story short, my lady here, we were in New Holland, and we were at the brew pub, and I got a flight of all the wonderful Dragon's Milks, and she's like, let me have one. And I'm like, you're not gonna like Dragon's Milk. This is not gonna work. Like this is you got to start with
Can't jump
lager.
in-
So she
can't
had
jump in the-
Dragon's
into the
Milk.
freaking pool. Jesus.
Yeah, right. Well, she had the Dragon's Milk s'mores, and she's like, "This is amazing." And I was like, "What? Forget it." So that's
Yeah, but
kind
that's
of
like a chocolatey kind of. It's almost not like Dragon's Milk. It's really good though. It's one of my.
I didn't like it actually, believe it or not. And she loved it, so it was. I don't know. It's all about your palate, but no. Doug, do you have one to share? And Dan, you can rebut once Doug's done.
I put this in the group because I've had it already, but I wanted to do it on the show because it's a nitro.
Oh,
It's a White Russian stout with coffee and vanilla added by Left Hand Brewing. Because you got to do that.
Ooh, there it is.
Yeah,
what was that?
that was the nitro can opening.
Oh, okay.
So now you see how it's rolling up the head. Really, really lovely. Now it's interesting. I don't know if you could see it. There's 3 layers.
Oh yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
Oh
So,
yeah.
like when this settles, and you'll get the 2 layers, almost like a Guinness. And then if I pour more in, hopefully this works. Let's see if it does it. It did it for me before, but it's not going to now. Of course, I was able to make like a 3-layer again. There it is, a little bit. You could see it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is pretty heavy too. It's almost 9%. Correct me if I'm wrong. Isn't Left Hand run by women? Like it's a female run brewery? I thought I read that somewhere. I could be totally wrong.
I don't know. I'll look it up though.
I'm not sure. Yeah, I can neither confirm nor deny that might be the case.
So I'm going to tell you, the nose is just, there's nothing on the nose. It's weird. Like I was expecting, all this scent to come through, but
Our friend Daniel Fisher's sick.
yeah,
I
poor
said,
guy.
yeah, the crud's going around.
Oof.
Going around here, I know that.
This is sweet, really sweet, but in a really good way. Like, sometimes you get them and they're sweet. It's like cloying. This isn't that. I don't think they put any lactose in this because, White Russian milk and all that jazz. Ingredients: Rocky Mountain water, malted barley, flaked oats. No, they did add lactose, coffee, hops, vanilla, and yeast. So that lactose gives it a really smooth mouthfeel like you would expect out of a White Russian, where you get that nice milky flavor. Really good, but it's not something where anything lingers on your palate at all.
Okay.
It's good and it's drinkable, really drinkable, which is a problem when it's 9%. But yeah, it's really good.
Or
Like
it's a solution.
Like those approachable double IPAs.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, this when I have it again and you get the vanilla in there with the lactose, really good. It's not like you're going to drink it and be like, oh, I'm drinking a White Russian. It's not like that. It's reminiscent of it.
Mm.
Well, I'm gonna like it. Sounds good.
Mm-hmm.
How do you guys feel about a lot of the beers now are kind of, they're trying to mimic the essence of like a cocktail or a certain type of food. Where do you guys stand on that? Are you fans of that kind of phenomenon, or are you more like, I'm kind of, get off my lawn. I want the classics. A stout should just be roasty.
Doug, let me jump in.
Go ahead. You go, and then I have thoughts too.
Yes.
I met our friends.
Thoughts.
I met our friends Rick and Paige at Insight Brewing. Insight, does that sound familiar?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So okay, cool. I've been to so many breweries, man. Some of these I just can't remember. Even if I was there 2 days ago, and even if I wasn't drunk or whatever, I just have a hard time remembering. Anyway, Insight Brewing had a what was it? A gin and tonic.
Oh,
something
crazy.
And it was interesting. It was good. It was only one that I would have a half of. I'm generally a fan just because I want people to drink beer. If that's what pays your bills, go ahead and do it. Doug and I have talked about numerous times. One of the worst beers I've ever had in my whole fucking life was rye bread beer in Philly this year. It was horrifyingly horrible, but it was well made, Dan. If you like rye bread and caraway seeds and all that nonsense, you would love this beer.
Okay.
I completely hated it.
Yeah.
The beer even had a shirt. So, and there were other people drinking it, and I was like, it just wasn't my thing. It was seriously, it was the only beer that I've ever gagged almost on it. Not even, but it was so like it's so tasty like rye bread. So some of these gimmick beers, man, it brings people in. It's not my thing mostly, but I understand. I'm sad face. I don't even know why. It's not like it's White Claws or anything, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So Southern Tier, which you mentioned about pumpkin, that's something they've been doing this year is making like cocktail beers. So they made a Manhattan and an old fashioned and another one I cannot remember for the life of me. So the old fashioned was delicious. The Manhattan I did not care for. But I think it's interesting if you're going to push the boundaries, why not try it? Like I'm mostly in favor of if you're going to try something wacky, I'm probably going to try it because I want to. How did you pull that off? Did you pull that off? I want to see how it tastes. And Southern Tier happens to be one of. I get a bunch of their stuff because I'm in, upstate New York. But yeah, and they generally do really. Heavier stuff, but those were interesting. That was part of their Blackwater series, and those are very unique things. But I think it's just and I also like cocktails. So, I mean,
yeah.
What's your opinion on those?
On the same notes of Southern Tier, when I was kind of first starting to travel for beer, I remember I went down, we did a weekend in Milwaukee, and I went to Roman's Pub. Greg, I'm sure you've probably been there. It's like this craft beer bar that's been around since 1978, and the guy is a bit of a curmudgeon. But they had the Southern Tier creme brulee on there, and that was, it was liquid dessert. So they were kind of doing pastry stouts before pastry stouts.
Yeah, they've been doing those for forever. So yeah.
Mm-hmm. And I guess, like Greg, you said, if you don't like rye bread, there's no way you're gonna like that beer,
Right.
And so like sometimes I wonder, is like if you come out of the gate with something really wacky, and you're like, oh hey, we pulled this off, but 40% of the people coming in the door don't like the food. What's the point? So,
well, I could see the larger point being like we're risk takers or just kind of setting your reputation as people that will kind of push the boundaries of things. That I understand.
Yep.
And otherwise, I wouldn't talk about this brewery. Just saying.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
No, seriously, because I was at 9 breweries that day, and I will always remember that stupid rye bread beer, and it's always going to I'm going to forget probably a brewery that I enjoyed more because I just was so against the rye bread beer.
Greg,
if I go to 9 breweries in a day, I'm lucky if I remember my name. Yeah. That's insane.
Yeah, but Greg also does the thing where he might get a flight and he'll he won't drink all of them.
Oh,
I tasted that. I'm out on that. I like that. I might finish it, but he tends to do right, Greg. That's how you've described it. You'll drink enough to try it.
Absolutely. Specifically that day in Philly, it was 4 of us, and we literally tried. We just did flights all day, and both of my friends who were there literally drove home, and that's because we paced ourselves. We weren't like drinking, and also too, sometimes if you're just tasting and you're staying on tasting, and Dan, I know you know this, if you stay on tasting, you're really never going to get a buzz. Now what happens is that you taste all day, and then 8 o'clock you're like, all right, I've had enough, like I'm just gonna have a couple pints. Then that's where you start to get a buzz. But if you stay on your I'm just tasting water, food, I'm just tasting water, food, you'll make it through the whole day. People are like, you're still drinking? Yes, I am, because I was tasting. Now, if I was drinking, I would be done at dinner and passed out on my bed at 7. And I'm too old for this. I can't be doing that, man. So with that being said, I don't know if you guys are ready. I'm jumping in.
Go ahead, jump in.
I'm coming up back to, I was in Minnesota earlier this week. I'm coming back to Minnesota with this one. Marvelous Creator. This is, who is this?
Stan Lee.
Stan Lee.
That. And he was too, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, he was amazing. I'm not even a movie person, but I know this guy was awesome.
Yep.
It's another double IPA. I don't know. I don't know if it's been one of those weeks, but
Is
I
it
guess
double
it's
New
double
England?
IPA. This is another one I got from my friends up at Home.con, so I have no idea. When people just give you beer, you take it. Worry about the details later.
True.
So I have no idea how old this one was. Dan, I don't know how many shows you've seen of us, but there have been times where we've opened beers that are supposed to be very hoppy and they were not hoppy at all.
Oh, interesting.
And yeah, long in the tooth IPAs. And a lot of them is our fault too, because I don't know, man, like, let's talk about organizing your beer fridge. You get beer, you're excited, you're out, you grab it, somebody gives it to you, put it in the beer fridge, and then you don't drink it. And then later you get more beer and you're excited about it and you're out and you throw it in the fridge and more beer, and then that stuff gets pushed back. A couple months later, you forgot about those double IPAs that you were looking forward to. And then you go and get them and they're just a malt bomb. What is sad face or sad trombone? Sad trombone. There's nothing worse. Thank you. There's nothing worse than a double IPA. And look at this one. So this is a little darker one. Are you familiar with this one, Dan?
I knew of it. I didn't try it. Probably because, double IPAs, I'm very selective about those. I can probably count on two hands the number of hazy double IPAs I've had that I've just been gaga for. I think that most of them actually happened when I was on a beer trip out on the East Coast a couple of years ago. So.
Oh my goodness! When I was in Philly earlier this year, it was this IPA after IPA after IPA. This one here,
that is really super dark.
I hate to say it though, it's probably one of these long in the tooth ones. I'm getting hop bitterness, but I'm getting more malt. There's not a balance there. There's so many hops in a double IPA that they really amp up the malt to keep it balanced. So then when those hops fall out, it just becomes a malt bomb. Now this isn't necessarily a malt bomb, but this is a little old. An experienced IPA drinker knows a little bit old. You can just tell. Like, you know what I'm saying, Dan? Like, I don't know how if you've never had a beer before, and then you can just tell that there's something missing. I guess that's when you start to become pretty good at this tasting thing.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the hops they drop out quick, and in a double IPA, they're so unstable, because it's I'm guessing that beer, I don't know, does it say it was dry hopped? Because if it's dry hopped, kind of last in first out type of situation where
double dry hopped.
Yeah. See, there you go. If you're drinking it 5 minutes after it was canned, it's old.
Oh, right. No, that's
so
like driving a car off the lot.
Yeah,
right,
exactly.
Lost $5,000 off his value. No.
Yeah. Yes, that's a great analogy. I love that.
Yeah.
Once it leaves, once it leaves the lot, once it leaves the brewery, it's like it's not even right. That's great. I love it. I'm going to use that.
Come up with some ideas once in a while.
Oh, I don't know. True.
Not often, but
no. So this one's a little long in the tooth. So I'm actually trying to look for. It's not horrible. I would finish it, and I might finish it actually. It's not horrible, but it's not the best in show, and it's definitely not what the brewer wants me to drink. I know that for a fact. I'm looking here. Oh, wait. I don't know. You guys do your labels. You guys do your labels pretty crazy here. I don't know. I don't see it. Who's next?
Man, you go up, man.
I can. I might as well crack this crowler of Oktoberfest because this is probably the second to last weekend of Oktoberfest. So You know, a lot of people come to the Twin Cities. They do the St. Paul, Minneapolis thing. So this brewery, Spilled Grain Brew House, is located about an hour north of the Twin Cities, up in Annandale, Minnesota. And last year they won their first GABF medal for their wheat wine, and their wheat wine is fantastic. But last weekend they had their Oktoberfest, and I was up there whooping it up, and I even got my little Spilled Grain Oktoberfest mug.
Very nice.
And this is a Martin style Oktoberfest, and it is on the lower end of the ABV spectrum of that style. It's 5.4% alcohol, but that's not a problem for me because it is so malty. The nose on this beer, I mean, you are sticking your face in caramel, like it's a little bit nutty. It's bready. I feel like I've, put on one of those weird sleep masks, or like, and I'm walking through a bakery right here. It's so good. The essence of bread in this beer is it's making me want to do improper things. So this is very, very delicious.
Okay.
And the nice thing about being 5.4% alcohol is that for an Oktoberfest, you're drinking it by the stein, a few brats, and you'll be all right. It's got a great color.
Yeah,
great color on this one.
Also, I really like that glass.
Yeah.
The glass is amazing.
This is my favorite style stein, the little dimple thing.
Yes.
It's not super heavy. But
Handsome.
yeah, it's
Sexy glass. Yes, sexy glass.
yes. So this is a good one. They're doing some good things up there. But yeah, it's interesting. There's a couple breweries that started off all in the same homebrew club, and so the brewer up there, Jacob, is one of those guys. And people that are familiar with Minnesota beer, they're probably familiar with Lupulin Brewing Company, which is 10 minutes away from Spilled Grain, and they were all kind of in the same homebrew club back in the day before they went professional. So it's really fun to see those kind of outstate breweries getting some love and some notoriety. And I'm always happy to go up there because it's always a great time. So,
Are you still? I don't even know what the word is affiliated. Is that the best word? Are you still affiliated with Lupulin Brewery?
I do. We actually there's still 2 beers out of the 4 beers that we decided to do collaborations on. We still have to brew 2 of the beers. We were going to brew a quad, and then kind of an amalgamation of a mild ale that had notes of sticky toffee pudding. Their brewer went to a beer dinner, and he just had this dessert, and he's like, I want to make a beer that tastes like that with toffee. And so we brewed a Belgian Double, which actually the only time I've been to GABF, we helped them brew it, and they entered it in GABF. So they were like, well, do you guys want to come with us to GABF, and we'll get your brewer's passes and you can hang out?
Yeah.
Like, does a bear shit in the woods? Of course I want to, so we did that in 2017. So I go up there fairly regularly. I love those guys. They're great people, family owned brewery. And they're doing really well. So
There is a company in England that makes a sticky toffee pudding beer. I've had it.
Oh, I'll have to research that because he's like, I've got this crazy idea.
Yeah, I mean, it's on my phone, but it's not really going to look because it's too bright. But there's
Stephen Smith?
It's from Wells.
Wells
Sticky Toffee Pudding Ale. So I'm just saying, I thought I'd had that before, but man, the idea of doing that in a beer would just be awesome. So don't not do it. Just saying I've seen it before.
Yeah.
So, Doug, it's that special time during our show.
Yeah. So now a word from our sponsor. That would be you, Dan.
Oh.
Tell us a little about yourself, your stuff.
Surprise. Yeah. So my name is Dan Beaubien. I live in St. Paul, Minnesota. and write for a beer blog called Beerploma. And the idea is your beer adventure starts here. And we want to get people to understand what Minnesota beer is all about. A lot of times, Minnesota is considered flyover country. You just you either pass through it to go someplace else, so you fly over it to get to one of the coasts. And when we're talking about beer, Minnesota has a lot to offer. I know that we're one of the fastest growing beer markets in the country. And so our blog really tries to highlight a lot of the things that are happening in the state, as well as breweries that you may not have heard of but are doing really good things. Spilled Grain is a perfect example of that. And every summer, myself and a couple of the other guys, they all travel for beer. So this past summer, I went on the Beercation to Beer Mecca and beyond. I did a road trip from St. Paul out to Colorado. I was gone for 3 weeks, and I visited 61 breweries in 20 days. It was hard work, boys. Real pedal to the metal stuff,
Weren't you just giving me? Weren't you just giving me shit about going to 9 breweries in a day?
Well, yeah, I was impressed.
What's that average though, man? But anyway, go on. Sorry.
Yeah, I think I averaged three breweries a day. So if I was doing 9 breweries a day, that'd be insane. But I didn't have. You had friends. I was flying solo.
No, right.
A little trickier when you're by yourself. But I do understand the whole concept of sample. And then sometimes, like you said, at the last stop of the day that's closest to the Airbnb, I might get a full pint and just kind of relax a little bit. I also do a beer podcast called A One Pint Stand. That is with my co-host Eric, who also writes a lot of our content over at Beerploma, and that's just trying to tell our stories and visit breweries and have them tell their stories, because I truly believe craft beer is all about bringing people together. And that's what we try to do with our blog articles and our podcasts. We like to go out and meet people and make craft beer accessible to everybody. So,
amen to that.
Nutshell.
And what about that second sip thing you do?
Oh, so this is really cool. So one of the beer writers that I had followed kind of before I even started blogging was Paige, and she writes the beer blog Alcohol by Volume. And we had kind of kept running into each other, and we became friends. And then it was after the 2018 Beer Now conference out there in Virginia where we got back and we were like, well, maybe we should try to do, some Facebook Live and kind of come together and talk about taste some beers together. I know that the impetus of that show was also to kind of shed some light on some of the bigger regional craft beer brands that some people, maybe kind of overlook, because the focus in craft beer right now is so hyper local that a lot of the bigger breweries like Sierra Nevada, New Belgium, Dogfish Head kind of get lost in the shuffle, which is ridiculous to say that when you think about, if there were to be a Mount Rushmore of craft beer, all the founders of those breweries would be chiseled onto that mountain. So the second sip, we do it kind of like, the first sip of a beer can be somewhat jarring. You got to give it a second sip to really unpack it. So Paige and I will get together once a month and taste some beers and have a good time doing it. So that's been really fun for me. She has an excellent palate. I learned so much about tasting beer when I sit down with her, and it's a great time. On the occasions when her significant other Rick, our jolly Canadian, is there, he's always looking up facts on the phone. So he's like our stat man. So it's really fun. It's really great to get together, and so that's
Rick works at Dangerous Man.
Yes. Rick works at the Dangerous Man in the tap room and in the Crowler shop. So if you stop by and you see a smiley guy with a beard and glasses, that's Rick. Give him a big hug.
Yeah, he has red hair too. He stands out like a redhead guy.
A gentle ginger.
There we go. Cheers. Doug, you have a third one?
I have a second one. I didn't even get my second one in yet. This one is the one that kind of worries me the most.
I love when beers worry people. It's fun.
We saved the worrisome for second.
Yeah, so I have one more to drink. That one I'm not worried about, but this one is Fire, Flood, and Plague, which is a freaking great name for a beer. This is a porter brewed with licorice. I am not a licorice fan, so this is a bit of a leap. What I noticed is on the back of the bottle, look at the date on it.
What is it?
February 2nd, 2016. So this could be really interesting. Now I'm gonna.
Sheldon Brothers.
This is Brouwer's. I don't know if you could see that.
Oh, Brouwer's de Molen.
Yeah, and it's from the Netherlands.
Oh,
Brouwerij. Brouwer de Molen. Yeah.
wow. Okay.
So this really, I didn't realize it was that old. So this is gonna be.
Wait. So where did you buy this? Where do we buy this? What the hell's going on?
I bought this at this was like there's that one little beer shop near me near where I work that has just a boatload of weird stuff. And I was initially going to do like a series of Belgians like as a theme. And then that's when I changed my mind and did all the labels. This one was an extra one that I bought that I just liked the label because it was so plain and the name was great. So Okay, so I'm
okay.
Woo.
Boy.
Wait.
Nazi.
It actually smells. It's like almost like a bourbon barrel aged thing with licorice. I don't know how to explain that other than that.
Licorice in a beer.
I just, yeah. All right, so
licorice and beer, Dan. Where you at? Yes, no, what?
This is a porter. This is a porter that's 9.9% ABV too.
Yeah, that was a.
So
it sounds like a Baltic porter.
Yeah, it's.
Well, that would make sense if it's licorice.
Yeah.
Yes.
It smells very boozy.
It's the whole licorice thing. I can't.
Well, what's funny?
Licorice is a tough sell, I think.
Well, the thing is, the licorice is really far in the back of the taste of this.
Okay.
It tastes really extremely boozy. And you just get the hints of the licorice on the back end. That's all it is.
Okay.
So it's a little long in the tooth, obviously, since it was made in 2016. So even like, you know how when you you cellar a beer and you get that boozy flavor that comes forward, but it's not. This is like flat boozy. Like it's just a little very flat, like throughout the whole thing. So I think it's just. I'd be curious to try this when it's fresher.
Right.
But like all I'm getting is just booze and just the slightest hint of licorice.
So it sounds like the licorice fell off.
Mm-hmm.
And which is probably a good thing. But think about it, like try to project that. Like if the licorice fell off and it's 3 years old, like how much licorice would have been there to start?
Probably quite a bit. There's still notes of it in there. It's not that it's gone. It's just really washed out.
So is it black licorice or red licorice? I was told there's a difference.
It's definitely would be black licorice, which is like I'm not a licorice fan in general, but I can eat red licorice, but like black licorice, no thanks. But I wanted to try it, and like I said, I think it might be the age of it is the problem. So it's just really flat.
No,
I will not be finishing this, just for the record.
Oh,
that's and I am such a person that hates wasting that I will drink almost anything, and I'm just.
Well, and I don't know. It's a high ABV. It's a dark beer. It's a what's the word we're looking for? Adjunct out beer. So that is prime for aging. So I don't mind the aging part. I mind the
Not
liquor.
neither. That just it got to a point where like it was aged too long. So, and the thing is, I have no idea how that was aged. That could have been sitting in a beer shop for 3 years in a case.
It could have been moved in and out of high temperature and low temperature, and you're right. You're right. So I'm looking forward to this one here. I have an Imperial Stout aged in bourbon barrels with blackberry cobbler edition from Modern Times.
Ooh.
Shout out to my friend David Rogers who got this for me. Went at the Home Dad Con. I've been waiting for this for a week. Blackberries. I love blackberries. We say that?
David gets a whole bunch of those kind of beers.
Ooh. You can smell all kinds of bourbon.
Oh, that's going to be boozy. Barely any head. That's going to be.
And pour that in the snowblower.
No head whatsoever. No head
whatsoever. A snowblower up in Minnesota, damn it.
Yeah.
This is a Minnesota beer. Like a Minnesota January. Or no, it's not January. It's it's April, right? When you guys are done with the snow. Fucking
well, I mean, before global warming, yeah, but
what is it now? May?
we had 2 years ago we had a snow day in April. It was ridiculous.
Yikes.
Like Godfather 3. Just when you think you're out, they pull you back in.
Right. Well, Dan, you missed the trip out in Montana. Long story shorter, when I got there, everybody's just so nice. It was cool, and I was talking to them, and everybody's Montana nice. I'm telling you, people are really nice out there. So I'm like, why are you guys, or are you guys always this nice? And the one lady's like, look, I'll be honest with you. In May, we're tired of this shit. Like, we just had 3 feet of snow, and she said she cussed, and she was behind the bar, and she's like, we're fucking tired of snow in May. So we might be a little, I don't know if I would come here in May, but if you come here in June, we're happy because we're back out, and Montana's beautiful, but like, she's like, in May, we would like, she was just saying bad things about their state of mind, and like how they feel like they're just like, they're cool with winter, but it needs to end like at a timely thing, and it doesn't up there apparently. So, so they drink a lot of heavy dark beers like this. The bourbon is kicking hard off the nose, so I'm hoping it's going to be smoother than what. Because we talk about this bourbon.
Don't light a match, Craig.
I can't wait to see you taste this. It's gonna be great.
Wow. Where do you start with this one? Big. How much? What's the ABV on this one? This drink's like 15%. It drinks like some Dogfish Head, big ass beer. It starts with the bourbon. You get some of the blackberry, and then it ends bourbon, but it ends smooth bourbon. A little bit of that blackberry, so it's a little bit sweet. It balances that. What is it? Harshness, a little bit of the bourbon at the end of it. This is a sipper. Hell, this is a small can, and this is a sharing. This needs to be shared. Will I finish it? Yes. Will I be better for it? I'll tell you in post-production.
So you said it drinks. You said it drinks like a 15%. Is that what it is?
Or I don't. It drinks like that. I don't know. I went to the website. Nowhere to be found on the website. Huh. So this says an Imperial Stout aged in bourbon barrels with blackberries, vanilla, and cinnamon. I'm not getting much cinnamon. And you know how vanilla is. Vanilla depends on how much you put in. Sometimes it's overpowering. Sometimes you can't get it at all. I think vanilla is, it's mixed with. This beer is vegan, it says. Whatever vanilla is mixed with, kind of depends on how much you're going to get out of it. But I'm not getting much vanilla, more blackberry. This beer, it doesn't say anything. Or here we go. Alcohol.
Not see it.
14.2%. Yeah.
You were close, man.
I was close. This drinks like it. And it should drink like it. Like, we don't need 14% beers drinking like 4% beers, right? Like,
Well, you want the note. You want those notes. That's what you want. Like if you're drinking something like that, you expect a certain flavor profile.
Wow. Let me take another one. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it drinks a little bit less.
Second sip.
It's boozy. Oh, it's right. The second sip.
Bingo. Worlds are colliding.
Yeah. Again, the blackberry is there. It's evident. It's obvious. The bourbon's there. Evident. It's obvious. You can tell it's a stout too. All good. I'm gonna finish this, but I wouldn't if I were around you guys. We be shit. Look at this, man. We be sharing this one. This is a what do they have, like, you ever go to a place where they have like this is stout, so you can only get a 5%er. This is it's a good one. And Doug, I don't know, man. This would be interesting
that would be something I would love to try.
Oh, this would be great to age too, because I like to see if the blackberry would jump off a little bit or come down a little bit to see if the bourbon would come out more, or maybe you would get more of the vanilla. But I think I would suspect the vanilla falls out too, because vanilla's sweet. But yeah, good one. I don't know. I just wish I had a little bit more head, but I guess at this ABV and
you're not going to get a lot.
You're not going to get
that high ABV, no.
Right. So I don't know. It'd be nice on a nitro tap or something, but this is a good one. I don't know. It doesn't even show up on their website, so I have no idea.
Yeah.
Good times though. Good times.
All right, Dan. Look at the can he just poured.
I was gonna say Dan is over there.
It was a crowler, so
So Doug, your last one.
All right. So Dan, are you still working on that? And you don't have a third one, or is that the third one?
I mean, I can grab a beer out of the fridge.
You can if you want, but I'll go next.
Okay. Yeah.
So this is one from the North Brewery that they just released today. I was looking up that I was there when they were putting the labels on the can.
Yes, that's what you want. Yeah. That's what you want.
This is Charlatan Stout. The Charlatan is it's not on our website, so it's not there. It's a honey almond cinnamon stout.
Ooh,
that's a lot of stuff together that maybe it is on their website, but I don't know. So I really like the artwork too, because the artwork is pretty nifty, and I'm a sucker for labels. So this is fresh. This is definitely not something that's been sitting around for 4 years. So that's good.
Yes. It's a stout. That's interesting.
Not a lot in the can, but let's pour it out. Also, shout out, they gave me a glass too, which is really cool because it's like a Cthulhu thing, which I'm.
Oh, nice.
So yeah.
They just gave you a glass? Is that what I heard? Is that what I heard, Doug? They gave you a glass?
Yeah. They also gave me a 4-pack.
Oh.
So yeah. So you see it pours out real nice and dark. Good stouty color with a wee bit of head.
Nice head there going on, right? Like it.
I'm also a little stuffy in one nostril, so like my sense of smell isn't great right now. So that's what happens when you break your nose 8 different times. It goes this direction, and one nostril is always shut.
Really though? 8?
I've broken my nose 8 different times. Yes.
Wait.
Not 8 different places, 8 different occasions.
You broke it at someone else.
There's a couple times where I got elbowed in a basketball court so bad once.
Basketball.
It broke my nose to the point that it was like this, and they had to like push it back into place.
Basketball.
So, all right, I'm not getting a lot on the nose, but let's see, because I don't know where cinnamon maybe you get on the nose, but honey or almonds I wouldn't think would be too pronounced to smell.
Uh, honey and almonds.
Ooh, man. Okay. So not getting a lot of almond. It's just kind of a hint. The honey is sweet, comes in, and then the cinnamon comes in afterwards. So it almost tastes like a spice stout. Like it reminds me a bit of like spiced pumpkin beers in that sense, when they have the spices involved. And it's a cinnamon, that's what's doing that. But really smooth. It's not abrasive at all. I have no idea what the ABV is in this. Generally speaking, their stouts are pretty hefty. Not Southern Tier hefty, but usually in the 8 to 11 range. So it is really, really good.
Well, what that beer sounds like to me, it sounds like a, for lack of a better term, an Oktoberfest stout.
Kinda, yeah.
Starbucks has ruined this. Sorry, whether you like it or not. Don't kill me, Starbucks people. Don't kill me. But with the pumpkin spice and all that, actually, Julia Hurst told me that pumpkin spice started with craft beer, and Starbucks stole that from craft beer. I don't know. I wasn't there. But the Starbucks has made the pumpkin spice thing mainstream. Say what you want. You know what I mean? The pumpkin spice thing, it's all over the place. Whether you like it or not. Again, I don't know. I've never had a pumpkin spice from Starbucks. We can take that to the side. But my point is that, like, I think what Starbucks has shown by being able to take pumpkin spice and exploit it to the way they do, and everybody loves it, is that people are looking for that kind of, like, that apple cider-y, once it starts getting cold, those little bit of spices. And I don't know, man, I kind of like to see people doing stouts like this. This is the first stout that I heard that to me reminded me of like an Oktoberfest stout. Like it's something like, if I don't want a pumpkin beer, but I still want to taste those spices, I can just get a little stout, or, because sometimes pumpkin beer is, Dan, I'm going to throw this to you, but pumpkin beer, I found out recently, or I found out, but I thought about it and put it all together. Pumpkin beer is also about the base beer. So, like, is the base beer stout, like, I think Pumpkin is? Not sure.
Pumpkin is it's like an amber ale, because it's like a lot of pale malt in there.
Quick,
but there is a.
Let me finish up and I'll jump into you for sure. For pumpkin beers, like, I found out that, like, it's about, like, how the beer turns out is about the style that it starts with. So, like you said, amber. Some of them start as golden ales. Some of them start as blondes. Some of them start as that. And it sounds like what Doug's down there is a stout. Whereas, like, it's not. He didn't do. There's a pumpkin in it, but they threw enough spices into it that, like, remind you of, like, the whole, Oktoberfest thing. And that's what Starbucks did, in my opinion, was monopolize that whole pumpkin spice. So once it gets a little bit chilly, you want your pumpkin spice. It's like putting your mind, like, they're connecting those dots, and they're just making you, like, jump in, because that's the way to do it, the marketing and all that. So jump over on whatever I just talked about.
I mean, that you make a great point. I totally agree, and I think that fall in the I think if you're in the Midwest, or you're in a place where you have a more truncated summer, but it gets hot still. Once that dip in temperature goes, I mean, immediately I'm like going to the liquor store looking for Oktoberfest. I'm looking for brown ales. I'm getting excited about stouts. This kicks off my favorite 4 months of drinking, because I love stouts. I love being able to, like, have some people over, crack open a few, bigger, 14 per, 0.2% stouts, and sit around the table and have some good conversation. You can't really do that with double IPAs. You can, but it's like, there's something about, like, maltier beer styles that do not wear out your palate like hoppy beers do. And I think that's probably why, when the weather gets cooler, you just naturally transition to wanting something malty.
There is definitely a comfort factor to it, because like I think Greg, you hit the nail on the head with this particular beer. It's if you took a spiced pumpkin ale, spiced pumpkin beer, and you just took the pumpkin out, that's exactly what that is. I mean, it's right there, and it really hits a lot of good notes because so 3 days ago it was 89 degrees here in upstate New York, and then today I actually had to turn my heat on because it was like 54 degrees here.
Mm-hmm.
So, it just I'm in this. I go out and it's cool, and now I'm one of those idiots that's like, oh yeah, I can still wear shorts and a t-shirt and it's 54 degrees because I'm one of those people, but I still am like, ooh, that's when it's like in the middle of the day, a hot cup of coffee or, just things that are comforting. Just really because you're getting ready to nest, for a while. So yeah. And upstate New York isn't nearly as cold or snowy as what you guys get. So, I mean, we get cold, but like the snow last year, I mean, we didn't get much of any. I mean, and you probably got way more than us.
Oh yeah. The last couple of winters have been miserable. I mean,
we're close, but Dan is a different. We're close in geography, but Minneapolis is a different beast than Wisconsin. At least where I'm at now. If I were in northern Wisconsin, I think it would be closer to where Dan's at. But like since we're a little bit.
Oh yeah. I mean, Madison is quite a bit south. Yeah.
Yeah, it is absolutely, and I don't know if I can do what these guys do up there, but it's cool though because you guys have a different infrastructure up there, and I was just there, and I didn't I've been there a couple times. Love it. I absolutely love the Twin Cities. I can't say enough about it. People are nice there. The transportation's amazing. The beer's amazing. The food's great. Again, I can't say enough about it. No bullshit. But like I've been up there a bunch of times. The thing I just realized this time though was like all the different skywalks, and I was like, oh, I get it. Like, duh, because I'd never ventured up there, and I never tried to venture up there during the winter. Maybe that's why I like it so much. Because I'm never up there at a time where it's like, I was up there once when it snowed, but no, it's pretty drastic. Thought I don't know. I'm from Philly, and you guys get more shit than us. Like what I mean by shit, I mean like sleet, freezing rain, that kind of shit. Whereas like Dan gets Dan gets that too though, of course.
Yeah.
But Dan gets more snow, and then I don't know what people don't underestimate about Minneapolis is that from what I've seen from there, you guys get a lot of thunderstorms. Like that's like crazy. It's like crazier up there than it is here, and I don't think people see that. So you're like your summers are as crazy as your winters, from what I see.
Oh yeah. But yeah, we still live here because we're crazy.
never a dull moment. I don't know. You guys are nice though, man. You guys, again, Twin Cities is just beautiful. I absolutely love it. Good time.
Dan, did you ever see there's a skit from Lewis Black who's on the Daily Show, and he does a skit because he was doing a special in Minneapolis, and the people were like, "Oh, you should come here in the summer. It's exceptional." And he's like, "Yeah, because you can feel all your fucking fingers and toes." It's a whole skit he does about like coming up in the summer. Yeah, you have like 3 months where it's great, and all the rest of it's like, why are you living here?
Right.
Yeah, a couple of years ago they had the Super Bowl, and I was like, why do you want the rest of the country to know how miserable it is? Like,
we're trying to keep
something in the summertime. July is the time you want to come here, not the end of January.
I was there for in the very early parts of February one year, and because I had to go to a training for something some software I was learning because I work in IT. And I stayed right by the Mall of America, and I had to walk to the training facility, which was only a half mile, except it was single digits every single time I walked to it. It was awful. Like, this is not great. But
that's why I call Minneapolis, or I call Minnesota Canada. So I'm fine with that.
Yeah, I mean, it might as well be. I'm sure. If we might get sold back to Canada someday. Who knows? It's
might be better off.
Yeah.
I was gonna say keep voting for the Democrat, and you might in this administration. Or
Now we get to the politics part of the show.
I was gonna say,
There we go.
can we trade you for Greenland? Can we do that?
Yeah, well, I mean, that's if the Greenland sale falls through, they might find another transaction.
Okay.
And on that note, are we done? Can we start comparing what we had tonight?
Yeah, that's cool. Dan, why don't you give us a review of what you had, and then we'll go from there.
Dan had 2 award-winning beers, right?
Yeah. So Tin Whiskers, they won their first Great American Beer Festival medal last year. Not for this beer, for a different beer, but I thought, hey, why not? Because it is fall. We're entering October, November. It's pumpkin beer season, whether you like it or you hate it. So we had the Tin Whiskers Shotki Pumpkin, one of my personal favorites. And then we moved north of the Twin Cities up to Annandale, Minnesota, and had the Spilled Grain Brew House Oktoberfest, a 5.4% malty delight. And those are kind of two of my favorite local places. I like to get out and venture outside the Twin Cities. So, I was actually at Tin Whiskers today after work because I teach middle school children, and on Friday you need a few beers. So so that's what I brought to the show. This has been really fun.
And this is we went live this week during GABF week, so thanks for bringing the GAB award winners from your area.
Yeah.
Good times. Unfortunately, if we're here, that means we're not at GABF, so we need to work on that. But we were there. I saw you
2 years ago.
We were there
2 years ago.
That was the last time we were there.
That's the only time I've ever been there.
That was the only time I've ever been there. Look at that.
Oh, nice. Yeah. Okay.
So we need to.
Both
I'm
my
gearing up
brothers
for
are
next
there
year
right now.
What's that?
Both of my brothers-in-law are there right now.
Yeah, and I asked you and your wife on the side, like, let's go for 2020. Let's go.
And Jill is all about it. So, yeah, we got to make that happen somehow.
Yeah. Go, Jill. Why isn't Doug all about it? Come on, Doug.
Hey, I'm all about it, too. I'm all about it. I'm fine with that.
Okay, cool. You're just saying that Jill's all about it, so we good. Okay, got it.
Cool. It was more of a validation of, I'm in.
All right. I was just making sure. Making sure, my brother. Making sure. Because GABF is amazing. And it's not just really about that. It's not just about GABF. It's about this. They have so many other things going on. It's like Craft Beer Week there that week. They got events. Meet all kinds of people. The food in Denver is amazing. I don't know. The whole thing is just great. I just couldn't make it work this year or last year. But next year, it's going down, period. I'm tired of it. And done. So, Doug, you next?
All right. So, I had 3. 2 were good. 1 was not. The White Russian Nitro from Left Hand was really good. Really drink 9% ABV, which was surprising because it doesn't drink that way at all.
Did you ever have that one?
What's that?
I haven't had it. It was funny. We were. Yeah, I know it's in the market. I didn't get my hands on it, but I got to try it because it sounds really good.
Me too.
It is really good. Yeah. So, and it on the little 4-pack on the side says the beer abides. So that's good.
Nice.
Yeah. Second one I had, which I am not drinking any more of, was Fire, Flood, and Plague. This was the only reason I'm not is because it was bottled in 2016. I didn't know that when I bought the beer. I should have, as you know, Greg, I am bad about checking dates.
So am I.
It's supposed to be a porter with licorice, really boozy, but flat and almost no licorice flavors. So I'm not going to waste my time on that one. The last one, which is my winner for sure, was the Charlatan Stout, which had honey, almonds, and cinnamon. I have no idea what the ABV is. This is fresh. They just released it today from the North Brewery in Endicott, New York, which is about a mile and a half from my house. It is really, really good. Greg described it perfectly. If you took a pumpkin spice beer and took the pumpkin out of it, really good. The spices are really well placed together. It works really well.
I would love to see breweries do more of that, especially if they're not going to jump into pumpkin breweries or beers. Because I don't know about you, Dan, but I know some breweries, and I know you know a lot of brewers. There are some breweries that just flat out say, we're not doing pumpkin beers. We don't care. So that and that's cool. You know, I don't know. Do you know any breweries that say we don't do pumpkin beers, or we're not doing a hazy IPA, or we're
Oh
not
yeah, I mean,
doing?
there's a lot of them. I mean, and that's the thing. It's like there are, I would say, hazy IPAs, pumpkin beers, probably two of the most polarizing beer styles. And some people love them, and some people hate them. But the problem is like when everybody goes all in on a style, and it flops, it ruins it for like the next 5 years. Because I love pumpkin beers and I can't find them. So there's got to be some happy medium in there.
I will say where I live, there's when I go to Wegmans, which is a grocery chain here, they have a whole section that's just pumpkin and Oktoberfest.
Oh man, I'm so jealous. I'm so jealous.
I love to hear. I love being around a good pumpkin brewing brew fan, because again, I think sometimes the negativity, sometimes the small minority, maybe they're a small minority, are just louder.
Oh
than the
yeah,
people who love it. You know what I mean? So sometimes you feel like everybody hates it, when the reality is a lot of people like it, but people just aren't going to scream about it. You know what I mean? Like, I love pumpkin beer. People just buy the pumpkin beer, drink it.
the
Somebody's
squeaky
liking
hinge
it.
gets the grease, man. The squeaky hinge gets the grease.
So somebody's buying it. Somebody's buying it.
Yep.
So because we got to make money, and brewers, you know, at the end of the day, brewers like to do what they want to do for sure.
Oh yeah.
But at the end of the day, either their head is telling them, or somebody in the money saying, you better brew that double IPA that everybody likes. Sorry. You better brew that Oktoberfest that everybody likes. Sorry. You better brew that. Right. And I know a couple brewers, especially small ones, and some of them are like, no, we're not brewing this, or we're not brewing that. And I can see them taking those hits. So as far as like people walking in and be like, where's our Oktoberfest?
Yeah.
Did you run into that in Montana with them not doing Scotch ales because other people were doing the Scotch ales?
Yeah, man. It's a thing. For sure. Peer pressure's up. Anyway,
Your turn, man. Bring it.
I could say it, bitch. So marvelous creator, a great man, probably a really good beer. I just needed fresh. It wasn't fresh. I could tell. So we're gonna make no comment on that one. This one was my second favorite one, the Flying Machine Double IPA. Piney. This one was interesting because it had the to me it was a mix of like New England and West Coast, because it had that piney. You can even still smell it on the nose when it's on. Big pine, but also fruity. So lemony and pine, it like Pine Sol, not like Pine Sol, but kind of like Pine Sol.
That was quite a comparison. Here, have this cleaner that will kill you.
Yeah.
Right, but no, it tasted better than Pine Sol. Don't ask me how I know about what Pine Sol tastes like. Don't ask. So we won't go. No, but this was a nice one. I don't know. I haven't actually. The more I think about it, I haven't really had many, because again, it says New England style, and it's rare that you get the piney part in New England. You know what I mean? Usually it's just fruit and juice. And I think that pine helped make it not an offensive one, as I already went through. And then my favorite one was clearly, for me, this Monsters Park Modern Times joint. Anybody, sorry, but most people in craft beer, I don't say anybody who's in craft beer, most people in craft beer know who Modern Times is out of San Diego. They make fantastic stouts. They do all kinds of crazy this was here, man. Look, proof's in the pudding. That's what's left. So
that was a big one too.
Big 14 ounce. I was, again, regular can. I was afraid of having this by myself.
You don't have to drive anywhere, man. It's fine.
Yeah.
No, this is true. But no, this is a good one. It had Blackberry Cobbler edition is what they called it. The blackberry was there. It's evident. It'd be nice if it were a little bit less blackberry, but the sweetness balanced out the bourbon. It was, especially even still now in the bourbon. So now that warmed up, I'm smelling more like chocolate in this, believe it or not. I didn't taste the chocolate, but I'm smelling more chocolate. But as you guys know, I don't know. I had to sit down a little bit because I know it's a stout, and Doug already knows, and I know Dan knows about serving temperature for a stout. It's not the same temperature as a lager. And you definitely don't. And if you do drink this as cold as a lager, you definitely want to make it warm up, and you want to give it some time. so you can taste the contrast of it. I don't know if we want to get into that, but this was fantastic. I wish I had more of this, but my friend came from San Diego to Minneapolis, and this ain't getting any distro anywhere near us. And I don't know, do you get Modern Times, Dan?
No, we don't.
We just recently got them in Wisconsin, so cheers, man.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh,
hey,
guess who's going to be stocking up when I come to Madison?
Couple weeks, man. Couple weeks. You can get your Modern Times. But of course, you know how this goes. Like, it's not going to be anything, you know what I mean? It'll be there, with the distributing. But that's still better than, Modern Times distribution is still better than what? I don't know. A lot of people.
There are a few in New York at Wegmans. I've seen some Modern Times stuff. I can't tell you what it was.
Okay.
It was like one thing. It was not like.
Grab it. Just get it.
Next time I see it, I will grab it for sure.
Yeah, I think Modern Times is one, and Dan, maybe you could jump off. Modern Times is one that, in my opinion, you see it, you can grab it. It's just one of those, you know what I mean? It's like, even though I don't want to bring this fucking brand up, but I'm going to. Fuck. Oh, no. How about this? I won't even bring them up. How about New Holland? So if you see New Holland Dragon's Milk, you can just grab it. Right. Even if it says like pistachio, orange, and tobacco butts. Like, whatever.
Still going to be good. Still going to be a good
They're going to find a way to make that good. Yeah.
Who doesn't? And here's the thing. You age that beer, the tobacco butts drop off. You don't even notice them.
Like hops.
Yeah, it's like, it'll be okay.
I'm sorry, but Dragon's Milk is that specific one where they have these combinations that you're like, no, that shit, no. This shit's not going to work. And you get it home and you try it, and you're like, what the fuck? But I took a tour there. My friend Steph Harding. Did you meet Steph Harding?
Yeah.
She's fucking fantastic. And Dan, I'm telling you, man, you need to call her and go to Grand Rapids and have her give you a tour.
Okay.
It's just amazing. Long story short, she took me to New Holland, and I went into the Dragon's Milk layer where it's just a warehouse, and it's just nothing but Dragon's Milk. All the barrels. God. It's just and then they show you the whole process of how they like move it out, and then they put the variants in. And like I was even making fun of them. I was like, you guys got 6,000 variants. Like, how the fuck does this happen? And also, why the fuck would you put orange and fucking tobacco together? Like, I was all over. Like, they were just so cool, and I was just like all up in their shit. Like I love Dragon's Milk, but why do you guys put like vanilla with like pistachios? What the fuck are you thinking? Like, look, and they just told you the whole process about how they literally have people who do this, and they test them out and all that, and so by the time it's just funny because I make fun of it, but by the time I see it out on the pallets, what I mean, like how many people have been through this process and signed off on it and tasted it, but it's just funny how especially that brand, they just pretty much do whatever they want and it works.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you've got they obviously have like the system down, and they're working with a tremendous base beer. I mean, I think back to when I first got into craft beer, Dragon's Milk was probably one of the first big stouts that I really like had, and like, wow, what is this bourbon barrel stout? What am I getting into? And it was really good. It's still good. And I'll tell you what, for the price point, you can do a lot worse, For Dragon's Milk pound, good bang for your buck there. It's a great beer.
To this day, that's my favorite. Like, if I have a stout that I will drink a lot of, and I don't mean a lot like I'm just going to get drunk. I mean, like, if I'm going to grab that, and I know it's going to be good every time. I have,
yep.
And it's always good.
And Modern Times is like that, in my opinion.
Yeah,
like, just grab them, because that's where we're going to go full circle. Modern Times is like, you see them, grab them, it's cool. Like, they might have at some point you're going to get one that's just not your vibe, or, it's bad, but that's beer. We're all in it out anyway. So,
yep.
Dan, it's been fun having you.
Yeah, this was great, guys. Thanks for having me on. Really, really good time.
Before we go, Dan, tell everybody where we can find you.
So all my writing is at beerploma.com. It's the blog I write for. And if you want to listen to Eric and myself talk about beer, you can search up the podcast, A 1 Pint Stand, and keep your eyes open for Second Sip with Paige. We do that once a month, typically around the second Thursday of the month. So
Where do you do the Second Sip? Is it still Facebook Live? What do you do?
yes, Second Sip is on Facebook Live. So you just go to our either Beerploma or Alcohol by Volume Facebook pages. The live feeds show up there. We always kind of kick it off around usually 6 or 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. So, yeah.
All right, Dan. Will you come back in spring and tell us what you're up to?
Absolutely.
Before
I'll show up anytime you're willing to have me on. This was fun.
Before the next summer, Dan, we need a preview.
Yeah. Well, next summer of Dan's going to be different. We'll talk about that next time I'm on.
Right.
I think we need to have Dan on in the dead of winter when he's got like cabin fever.
And I'll be, I'll be balls deep in barrel aged stouts at that point.
January.
Yeah.
Okay, right. We'll do this. Cool.
Yeah.
All right. Well, next week is another edition of Brothers and Booze. We don't have a guest next week, Doug. So not yet. We're working on it.
But
I don't know, Dan, you want to come back? You busy?
I'll check my calendar.
All right. If not, though, I love Doug's idea. We'll get you back in January.
Yeah. Let's do that. Let's plan on that.
Yeah. That's cool, man. All right. We will see you guys later. Click subscribe if you haven't. If you guys get in here later and you want to make fun of my comments about tobacco beer, leave them in the comments. Doug is Scotch for yours on Facebook. I'm Daddy Porter everywhere else. Dan is Beerploma everywhere else. Cheers, everyone.
cheers.
Cheers.